If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. This show is made possible by Spreely Media. Download the Freedom Hub app today and join the free speech movement. I want to thank the people and the companies that keep my show going. All my sponsors can be found on patriotbarbie.com on my shop page. Century H2O, water systems for your home that provide clean, toxic-free, fluoride-free, and pharmaceutical-free drinking water for your family and pets for under $300. Dylan's Restaurants has been a proud podcast partner for years, and the owner is my personal friend. With 4 locations throughout Arizona, you'll always find one to dine at and love, especially the zoo. Well, especially the ranch. Well, maybe the one floating on Lake Pleasant. Dang it, they're all good. Support your freedom-loving businesses, and please check out Dylan's Restaurants. Small business owners, claim your employee retention tax credit for 2020 and 21 with an accountant you can trust. If you don't know what this is, you could be missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Go to patriotbarbie.com and click on my partners page to read up. My Freedom Cart, a conservative-owned, made-in-America, toxic-free company that lets you shop online and delivers everything to your front door. Clean products, protein, snacks, hair care, makeup, toiletries. Dude, ditch Amazon, keep the perks, and support a pro-life and pro-freedom company. myfreedomcart.com. My Beautiful Smile is brought to you by Dr. Daniel Slyke. His dental team is passionate, detailed, gentle, and clearly very talented. My entire smile has been restored to stunning, and I owe it all to him. He's right here in Scottsdale, and consults are free. Go to patriotbarbie.com, look him up, and schedule your free consultation. Are you worried about spike proteins? If not, you should be. Get the spike formula developed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough from the Wellness Company by going to twc.health/patriotbarbie. Listeners of my podcast can use code PatriotBarbie at checkout for a discount. You guys, once again, you can find all my partners, my makeup line, my Patriot wine, my merch company, and the Freedom Cart at patriotbarbie.com under the shop page. Now, are you ready to get started? Let's go. Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. I'm your host, Lindsey Graham, author and conservative activist. I love Jesus. I love America. I'm a proud wife, mom of 3, and I'm having bold and witty conversations with America's patriots, the ones that cancel culture desperately want to blacklist. Trust me, I've been there. In 2020, I defied government lockdowns in Oregon, reopened my salon, and became an icon of freedom. I've been targeted by government and raging liberals every day since, and I refuse to back down. Patriots, I'm here to tell you, your values are worth fighting for. The Patriot Barbie podcast starts now. What's up, man?
What a wild couple of days I've had.
I kind of was like, oh, I don't know if I want to get into the drama, but then I'm like, that's kind of what's happening right now.
I know. I mean, like, look, I'm moving forward. This is not the first and Turning Point reached. Are we live right now?
We're not live, no. It's recorded, but
okay. Turning Point reached out to me and apologized because look, this is not the first time that this has happened to me or David Leatherwood or many other of the gay ambassadors that support Turning Point. Mm-hmm. And we were, she could have used maybe different wording and I would have scrolled.
Right.
Like if she would have said homosexuals and whores, I guess, which is also not a great word if you're an influencer. But like homosexuals repent, like, okay, girl, like whatever.
So you have to start. I don't know any of it. Someone sent me something and was like, did you see what so-and-so said about conservative aunt? And I was like, what? That is my friend. But then I just, so like, what is the exact context?
So I did so the video I made so she said it generally. She said it in general. It was her tweet.
Okay.
And it said, faggots and whores repent. And I was like, ooh.
That hurts a little.
Yeah, I mean, because look, I'm a man of faith, and I
Mhm.
just don't think that at least my God wouldn't talk about his children that way. So anyway, so I comment, I'm like, girl, immediately no. That's what I said. I said,
That
girl,
sounds like you.
yeah,
Immediately no.
uh,
Immediately no.
immediately no. Like giving her the opportunity to be like, maybe I worded it, whatever. She
Right.
doubled down on it. She's
Mhm.
like, well, she says, you're nice, Aunt, but yes. And I was like, I'm nice, but I'm a faggot.
Right.
So I sat on it for a day, and I woke up in the morning and it was like, my God, the Lord spoke to me and said, no, that's not right. You need to put her in her place because she has young girls that follow her,
Mhm.
that look up to her. And that's not how we are going to move forward as a society or get people to worship if you're talking like that. It's just
Yeah.
not. And with the heightened temperature of our political climate right now and the fact that we literally have trans psychos that are going into schools and hurting
Christian schools.
Christian
Hmm.
schools and hurting
Yep.
kids. It just happened at a Christian school. So like I was like, that's incitement, like that's not cool. I'm not cool with that. No.
So I have a question for you. Is there any world that you live in where like that word is derogatory, clearly? Is there ever going to be a world where it's not derogatory where you're like, well, no, it's a word it's a word and the meaning is this? Or is like it's derogatory no matter what?
I actually like I'm not offended by the word itself because look, I am not if anybody's hung out with me, like I drop the F bomb all the time. Like I say shit, like I swear I have a great sense of humor. I have buddies that I grew up with for a long time. When we hang out, they use that word. And I that's so cute. I'm
This is Tucker Carlson.
oh my god, I love
He,
Tucker.
he just lost his job.
But
Sorry.
if that's gonna be better for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um I it was because she has a platform and a
Hmm.
following and she represents brands quite frankly that I represent.
Right.
Like I represent Turning Point. I don't represent Public Square yet, but Public Square reached out to me because I've been a face for them before and
Hmm.
they're like we don't put up with that. And I'm like,
Does she represent Public Square too?
yeah.
Oh. See, that's tough. Like this culture is really tough because we value freedom, we value free speech, we value all that. But at some point, someone says something hurtful. And you kind of sit back and go, all right, I mean, how much free speech do I really agree with? Like, people need to be held accountable
Free
for bad representation,
Yeah, and
right?
free is free, but they do have consequences sometimes.
Right. Are you
That
ever afraid? Like, I'm always afraid. I lost everything in Oregon, right? Rebuilt here in Arizona, made a name as the Patriot Barbie. And for like the last year, 2 years, it's been like, oh, I can't get canceled. I've already been canceled.
been
And
canceled.
now the more I associate, I think about this situation where like, I agree, she made a very bad choice. That was an unkind way to say what she was trying to say, and it was an unkind word. And I'm like, oh, I can be kind of hardcore myself. Am I ever going to say something that gets somebody like we should not align with her anymore? Are you ever afraid of that?
Sometimes, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I don't want her canceled. Like
Yeah.
I want her to I want her to like realize that look, as broadcasting people, I mean that's what we are. We're self-made journalists, we're broadcasters. We put out I hate saying that we're content creators. We're,
Influencer.
we're like independently reporting stuff
Yeah.
and what you say holds water. Like so if if Tucker Carlson were to on national TV and say faggots need to repent, he would have no job tomorrow.
Right.
If somebody else went on TV and said the N-word,
Right.
and I'm not a fan of that, and said and the N-word needs to whatever, that's going to have consequences to it. Now, if in her faith she truly believes that homosexuals and whores
I love that you have a hard time saying whores.
because
Whores.
because it's like I don't understand why you associated those two words to the Lord. Like, why couldn't you have used different terminology in this sense? Like, I'll say the word hoe, whore all day long in a dirty sense, but like it was joined in with Christ. Like, it was brought into a very nasty, like, do you understand? I don't know if it's me or
Well, here's a like I can't figure out what you're saying unless you were mad that she looped in whores, which are people who sell themselves for sex, literally, right?
Right.
And gay people, which are two very different things. I'm actually confused by like, we're all sinners. Like, I am not a whore and I am not gay, but I probably drink too much wine, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm vain, clearly. I do Botox and all that. Like, I would say my biggest issues are vanity and wine, like alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like saying, narcissists and alcoholics repent. You're like, yeah, totally.
Totally.
Like, but everyone needs to repent. So why is it specifically like
it's look, it is none of what you just said. So none of that really, the two words together is not what really threw me off. It was that, like, you walked around and hung out with me. You know several other gay patriots personally as people. You know that they're good people. You know that they're fighting for your children as a mother. You know that we're out here with no kids fighting for your kids. And you are straight up using that in a disrespectful sense to your friends that are helping you. And it also, Lindsay, makes our movement exactly what the left is like, cries, pisses, and moans about. They're like, you guys are bigots, you guys are fascists, you guys are homophobic, xenophobic, all the phobics. Well, she just put that on full display.
Yeah.
And representing Turning Point, who just got backlash when we were at SAS for supposedly us having white supremacists at our event, which was
that's right. Yeah.
Totally fake.
Yeah.
But like, we need to really work on messaging if we want people, especially Gen Z, to come to our side, because it ain't looking good right now, and that doesn't help.
They claim to be the party of, inclusivity, diversity, and acceptance. And they have a leg up on us because even though they cancel out their own people all the time, right? Oh, you can transition, but once you detransition, you're out because then you're speaking up against us. But we already do that. Like, some people already do that. I like to think that I'm in the box where I'm trying to relate and be okay with everybody in our movement. But there are people, and plenty of them in our movement, who are like, well, no, all of my beliefs, X, Y, and Z, are superior, and I will not tolerate or align with anyone that doesn't align with them. And it's like, well, how about you give a little, or how about you at least analyze how you're treating the people, whether you agree with them biblically or morally or whatever, and align for the sake of, like, what's the bigger issue? And to me, there's so many different facets of people in the conservative movement. That is the one thing that I am really careful about, is never ostracizing someone who's on my side, technically. You know what I mean? There's even transgender people that message me and are like, thank you for what you're saying. And I'm like, are you sure? And then I'll make a reel and be like, all right, this person might unfollow me now. And she's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm with you. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's just keep trying. But like, you know, you can compromise a little bit without compromising what you believe in, but still saying, hey, if you're on my side, you know what? I'm going to take you as an ally.
Right. And here's the thing, like I'm the person that agrees with like the cake shop owners, right? Remember the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm that sides with them on that. Like I'm not that I'm not that like, oh my God, you can't say. I'm the last person that would never take offense to anything, but like it wasn't even that I really took offense to it as much as thinking about the big picture of it. And it's like, yo, gay patriots already have had these conversations about a lot of things that we see on the right.
Mhm.
And like I've been publicly dragged through the mud by our own side. And they're like musical artists that are supposed to be of God, that are representing the MAGA movement, that are elevated on shows like, you know, Candace Owens and stuff like that. And I never stuck up for myself. I ignored him. But like now you have this other person that's doing it. It's like, no, that's not cool. You can have your belief and I can support you for having that belief. I don't expect you to know my life, accept my lifestyle or understand what the, because it's so hard to put into words. I didn't choose this lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody had a choice in that, I don't think we would have taken the hard road. Do you? I think that everybody needs to understand that like it's a struggle that we went through at some point of our lives, and I was just blessed that I'm able to understand it from the other side that typically wouldn't. So I have changed a lot of people's minds that normally wouldn't even talk to gay people.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like the rest of them. And there's gay patriots that are just like me, where we have a voice. We're fighting for the right thing. We're on the right side of history. And like, I accept the fact that you don't agree with my lifestyle, but you don't have to go about it in such a way that makes us look like we are what you said we were.
Ooh, that was well said. That was well said. And I will say this. I go around and around because I associate with Gays Against Groomers.
Yeah.
I'm friends with plenty of gay people, and yet I'm friends with a lot of really extreme Christian people too. I would probably be considered really extreme Christian. It's like the only way that I can compartmentalize it into a way that makes people understand is like, who says that your sin, because according to the Bible, right, being gay is a sin. Who says that that sin deserves constant, continual, pressurized, discriminative, repeated like persecution
Correct.
over what my sin is? Let's say that I have a secret drug problem, like, whatever, and I'm hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as much of a sinner that technically then as you are.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that I could, and I wouldn't, publicly like demoralize your sin when I myself have one? And mind you, I'm taking a drug addiction, which I think is a really big sin, but any sin counts as sin, any sin at all.
Exactly.
So people who come at you and say, hey, my whole mission in life is, I don't even want to say it because it's a soundbite, right? Like I want to say it, but I don't want to say it because it's a soundbite. Repent. And I'm like, you repent. I mean, you have sin too. You totally do. And you can be a Christian and you can still believe that the Bible says being gay is wrong and not have to bring it up all the time. Pretty sure, Aunt, you've heard it, right? So
thousands of times.
I'm not going to anti-gay you with my Christianity, and I'm not going to persecute you. And like, I'm going to be the love of Jesus.
And it's also possible to both love Jesus, God, the Lord, Christ, however you depict him. It's also okay to all love him in in on the same path, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can all pray to him on the same path and maybe pass each other by and nod, but like I would never be like, ha 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 ha, look at that person, look like like in a sense of like like you said, like you're bombarding them consistently for their,
Right.
and it's like look within,
Mm-hmm.
work on your own sin,
Yep.
and however everybody up, look, we all meet our maker at the end of the day, right? So let me deal with that shit on my own.
Ooh, you said shit. Oh, sinner.
But it's like, so I think that if the wording was different, I would probably, because I love her. She's a great person. She's a good girl. I've met her a plethora of times in person. I think that she's super great. Which is why I was even more taken back by it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the double down. And then I was like,
That's rough, man. That's hard because that's also hurtful. You know what I
mm,
mean? That's hurtful to you.
mm.
It's like you can say something on social media and mean it to be pretty vague. Um, but you also have to think about, okay, if I were to take that vagueness out, who do I know that falls into that group? Whose feelings I truly would hurt and who doesn't deserve to be hurt like that.
Right.
I can think of 5 gay people right now. You're one of them.
Look, many gay patriots reached out to me and like, thank God that you said something, because they're like, we get this crap all the time, and it's like, are you trying to push us out of, like, are you trying to push us out of the movement? Like, don't you want more of us on your side? Like, why are
Yeah.
you people out of the movement? And if there's people that don't want, maybe there's people that don't have faith in God. Maybe there's people who are mad at God, because
Mm-hmm.
there was a point in my life when he took my mother. So it's like, maybe there's people that need worship, but there's people that need him, and you just cut them out. You
Yeah.
said nope, and they're like, man, I really wish she wouldn't have said that, because maybe I would have followed in her footsteps.
Right. Maybe you would have looked at her a different way as like a ministry, and now you're like, oh no, no, we're good.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm good. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
I'll be your example, aunt.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm a good example.
I think you're amazing. And I do, but look, I love strong, independent, self-made women. Like on my platforms, I like a lot of women that have, businesses will reach out to me, and I'll try to throw them up there and stuff. You have a business, which I love. I have your brand as well. And
Yep.
it's like, girl, I could elevate women all day long.
Hmm.
Y'all need gay best friends.
I know. I'm a fruit fly to the heart. I mean, to the core. I'm a fruit fly. Oh my gosh.
I know. But here we are, and moving forward. Today's a new day.
That's
It's
right.
just moving forward.
Yes. Good for you.
Yeah.
How's your movement going? Where do you see, like, we talked like 6 months ago, and I was like, Aunt, what do you want to do? Like,
Yeah.
now I was suggesting you be a media personality, and what do you?
That's what I ultimately would love at the end of the day. And it's not even something that I want to do because I'm like, ooh, I want to make the money. Like it's something that I believe in. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that we kind of fell into a really great era in media for
Yeah.
people that like media. I think that we all are very blessed in that sense, because nobody really believes mainstream media anymore. And so people like yourself, me, and obviously so many others in our movement, we took the bull by the horns when the time was right. And we're like,
Mhm.
we're sick of the mainstream media. It's fake news. And we started to do our own research, and we added our personalities to it, and we put it out to the interwebs, and people liked who they liked, right? And a
Yeah.
lot were elevated in that way. I would really like to start seeing all of us as personalities on these mainstream networks.
Mhm.
Like, I want to see them, like, for instance, Newsmax. Like it's really dry. And I would love to see a show like The Five on Newsmax with people like us.
Mm-hmm.
OAN, have
Yeah.
contributors, have people come on as like OAN contributors and have them do independent journaling and stuff like that. So that's where I see us. And I also see a whole Hollywood side to it where it's like, we got this. Like we can write and direct and produce.
Totally.
So, I mean, we already got the music and the artists.
That's right.
We have all the talent right here. Like,
And this one podcast.
let's go. Like, let's start creating this stuff.
Yeah. I will say this too, on top of what you said about us like falling into, ironically, such a great era for media personalities. And we sort of put ourselves out there and people followed. Also, at the same time, people want personality more
Yes.
than they want necessarily like a scripted news read.
Yes.
And looking at like your numbers and Kendall and Kentucky's numbers and Benny Johnson's numbers, like people want to hear what's happening, but in a realistic way, like they're listening to a friend tell them what's happening. And so it's not even that I want to give you kudos. It's not even so much that we fell into this era, but that you are who you are. And the era is answering to us. The era is saying, I'm not watching the news. I'm going to go to conservative Ant, see what he has to say about Tucker getting fired. Like, I want to hear someone's opinion on it. I already heard that he got fired. Now let's just talk about it. So, like, you're very blessed to someone like you, 30 years ago, without an iPhone and without YouTube and Instagram, would just be funny to like the 20 people that he knew. And now you get to be funny to hundreds of thousands. So,
yeah. Well, people, there's a lot of different hands when it comes to helping in people in the within the movement, and I pay great respects to all of our our followers that share the message there as well. Not everybody. It's hard for us to get on like people think that it's like super easy, like go to events and speak in front of people and like and then go and rush over here and then try and make a living out of it, right? Because we're capitalists. Right. So it's like, okay, so now people are requesting merch. Okay, so I don't know, I'm a self-made business person, so how am I going to do that? And then put your whole personality online for people to scrutinize you and pick on you and call you names and all the things. So it's not easy, but it is rewarding when you do get those messages. Like you said, you had trans person message you. I've had drag queens and gay people from all over the world message. I get more positive than negative, I will say now. But from all over the world say, thank you so much. We are scared to come forward, but people like you and Gays Against Groomers are our voice. And what people don't understand is, drag performers, that is their career. They're entertainers. They never, most of them never wanted this to happen.
Right.
And they still don't want it to happen. And so they're scared to be a voice because they don't want to lose their career.
Yeah.
We don't think of it from that aspect.
Right.
So that's why I've been a big proponent for, I want to know where the parents are at, who's driving them.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah. Well, what's your call to action for drag queens? My specific call to action was, if you're a drag queen, you should be refusing to perform for children and putting that in your contracts with the venue. I will perform. This is my fee. I will not perform for children. Like,
yeah, that's a great.
Do you agree?
100%. That's a good one. Something that's kind of similar to what you were saying was, if my call to action to drag queens would be, if you do show up to work and you see that there are children in your bar, in your city, where you're about to perform, make that known that you will not perform that evening. Whatever it is that they need to do, walk in and you say, hi, I signed up to be an entertainer for adults. Fix this.
Yep.
Until you do, I won't be back.
And even more bold, and I just thought of this, so I'm going to word vomit, is a drag queen walking up to the parent and pulling them aside and going, do you know what you're about to expose your child to? Are you really aware Have you seen the videos? Do you
Right.
know what I do for a living? Are you naive, or are you purposely putting your child in danger? Because as a man who dresses provocatively like a woman and dances provocatively, that's not insulting to adults. I've been to drag queens shows, many. They're hilarious because you're an adult.
Right. Now I might get a little. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I might get hate from conservatives on this one. One little thing.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Controversial.
If say I was a parent and I was on a cruise ship, okay?
Okay.
And there was a celebrity impersonation drag event. Okay. But it wasn't put out there like drag for all ages. It was just impersonators, celebrity impersonators. You as your family went there, you went to go watch the show. Men and women came out dressed as said impersonators. I'm talking about your classic clean
Marilyn Monroe,
Marilyn Monroe,
Elvis,
Minnelli,
Cher,
your classic Hollywood. They came out, they sang a song, they left. As a child, because I remember being a kid, and that happened one time when we were on a family vacation, and my dad is very old school, and he's not comfortable in that situation. But I remember looking at him, and he was like clapping and kind of enjoying it because I didn't know that those were men at the time.
Right.
I just thought it was just a Hollywood thing. Like I was like, oh, it's just performers.
This is the moment you were gay. This is when you knew you were gay.
I wanted to be Liza Minnelli. but then on the flip side of that, right? That's very, in my opinion, that's a very innocent situation, right? But then on the flip side of that, when you're promoting for all family drag show, and then knowing that the drag performers are dressed very, very scandalously. They're having kids put money in G-strings. Now that's a night and day situation.
And I don't think as a pretty I would say rational person, I don't think you should get hate for what you just said. I'm picturing a dude dressed as Cher, a dude dressed as Marilyn Monroe in Vegas, right? Which I would never take my kids to Vegas, but like you're saying, on a cruise ship. The situation is very different because as a parent, I can say to my child, oh, that's funny. That's a man dressing up as a woman because it's a costume and it's a show. I did theater in high school. I can tell you that in theater in high school, innocently, sometimes the character called for a man to dress like a woman and vice versa. And when you know that that's the situation and a parent can innocently explain it to their child without having to be like, well, so, I mean, one of two things. He either identifies as a woman or he thinks he's a woman or he's, a cross-dresser in life. Like those are all such different stories.
Thank you.
Or like when you're trying to pass, right? And also if it is innocent and it's not sexual. And now I agree that we're like, kind of moving the line a little bit, but this stuff was never dirty before. And again, like I'm friends with Lady Maga, Ryan, and he is I love him. He's a drag queen. And he's like, to me, I'm like, there's a difference. I don't love that you dress up like a girl because I'm like, make America manly again. Like I wish you were, a burly dude, but you do. And you love it. And I love you. And you don't say you're a woman. You're not a cross dresser. You're not confusing anyone. You're literally a performer. You get on stage and you are a character. That's about as innocent as it gets because you're not doing anything dirty or sexual to kids. So what's the problem?
And here's my thing too. You know what? This was never an issue before.
No.
Okay. Because, in my 20s, I used to work at gay bars. Okay. I used to be a cocktail server and whatever. And we had drag night and stuff. And I remember that community back then, if we would have seen a kid at a drag show, the drag queens would be like, girl, who brought babies in here? Somebody come grab your kids.
Yeah.
And so it was never, and parents weren't doing that then.
No.
So in the last 3 years, we've seen this like really strange shift in I don't know if it's the Matrix or whatever, or
Yeah.
got bored, but it's like the normal gay people are like, holy crap, what's going on?
What just
Why
happened?
act? Why are
What's
we
an LGBTQ turn into?
right? I wish it was just LGB.
Yeah. I mean, I call it LGB because I've heard quite a few of you denounce the T part.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
Q and yeah.
yep.
Yeah, you guys are taking the brunt of it, and it's like the left is all to blame. They're all to blame for it because they can't just accept like, hey, we have our rights as gay. Now, someone said Simon Esler. He's the guy that produced the movie Cut, the new
Uh-huh.
premiere documentary. He said that the transgender movement is the most homophobic movement because you should see this video. It's just a quick, 30-second whatever. He goes, technically you deplete same-sex equality because there is no same sex now. Everything's gender neutral. Men can be women can be men. So you say you're lesbians, but like, is one of you a man? Because now you've taken away that whole. And then
So
there was one other thing it depleted too. I don't remember what he said, but I was like, that is such a good point. You've made it so confusing that the whole like transgender movement is creating a homophobic movement too.
yeah, so I'm gonna take off maybe some trans people today. So
Yes.
I have said this since way before social media. Okay. I was calling out my gay community a long time ago before this was even exposed. All right. And I don't understand trans. As a gay man, I don't understand it. I never will. And most of us won't if we don't want to be trans because it's a mental health issue, it's a
Right.
mental illness. And it's okay. We all have mental health issues in
Mm-hmm.
different ways. But before you decide that you want to transition, you need to make sure with a doctor mentally that this is actually the road that you want to go down. And then you need to not only know the upsides of it, but they need to let you know all the downsides of it. Which, if people don't know, which most of the young kids don't, they just want to transition. They don't know that it comes with shortening your life expectancy,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of organ failures late, at younger ages in life, 30s, 40s, your 50s.
Yep.
Women that are I don't even know how to say it, transitioning to men, uh, the breakdown of their uterine lining and their
Mm-hmm.
uterus and like all the pain that comes with that and in their hips. And I mean, there's all kinds of different things that are actual health concerns, and then they need to understand that it's also a mental health issue after they transition.
Right.
So all in all, this is a health emergency in my opinion. It's a health emergency because we're shortening the lifespan
Mm-hmm.
of young kids before they have the opportunity to even know what they want.
Right. Yep.
And we have people and we have parents and doctors that are actually backing this.
Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing. If you're This is why children shouldn't be transitioning. All of the reasons that you said, all of them to the T. And in addition to, I remember being a teenager, and do we not all have like the weirdest sense of entitlement when you're a teenager and you
Yeah.
don't know what adulting is? You have to understand, if you transition, that the struggles and hardships that come with that are your choice alone. And what happens after you trans is not that society now has to cater to what you've done. And this is what I've said, and this is what I thought would piss off some of the trans people that follow me, and they still agree. I'll tell you, for example, Laura May. She is a male. She is a biological male. She looks a lot like a woman, but she says, I have gender dysphoria. It's a medical condition. I transitioned because I literally can't survive without attempting to look and appear like a woman. That is how I must live.
Right.
I'm unable to live as a man. Okay, great. But moving on from that, she knows she's a man. She doesn't hide it. she's outward about it. And that's the problem too with transitioners, is they think that they can transition and then they just get to fool everyone instead of saying, I'm trans. You now just want to say, I'm a female. It's like, but you're not though. So you can't go around lying to everybody and deceiving everybody. But kids are narcissistic. They think they can do this, and then everyone is going to cater to what may or may not happen when they don't pass, or somebody recognizes, hey, I can tell that you're a dude trying to use a girl's restroom, and I'm going to make sure you're removed. Like that is a risk that you take that you better be ready for.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of trans people now that I'm seeing that are coming out and speaking out against this, a lot of trans women. And, there's one specifically, I can't remember her name, but when I see her videos one day, I will send them to you. She's on TikTok. She's amazing. She has almost 1 million followers. And she's moved over to the conservative side. So she's doing this whole thing where she's like, day 1 of me being a conservative, day 2. But she's like, I don't understand where as a trans community we went wrong, where we didn't even try to look like we were a woman. And now we're mad that parents are mad that somebody that's not even looking or passing as a woman wants to use the women's bathroom. What did you think would happen? Like,
Right.
If Blair White walked into a woman's bathroom, nobody on the face of the planet would even question it. Like,
Right.
they wouldn't even blink twice. They'd be like, oh, that's a really pretty girl going in the bathroom. Maybe. Or a woman walking in the bathroom. Pass off as it, like, if you're serious about this transition, make it happen. But this entire weird, super, super out of this galaxy gay ideology of like, there's guys with long hair and makeup and now they have beards and then they have like nails and press-ons but they have a beard and
I know.
guy and then he's got a beard and they're elevating them and they have TV shows. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, they've made the requirements for being a female so weird and vague, and like, okay, so now do I agree that you can use my restroom if you shave your beard? Okay, no. Do I agree that you can use my restroom if you're wearing enough makeup? No. Do I agree that if you get boobs? No. Do I agree if you cut off your wiener? Like, no. But like everyone now has their own. That's why I'm like, I hate to say it, but you just have to be biological. That's how it's got to be, because otherwise it's all a matter of opinion. Do you pass or do you not pass? It's like, okay, well, if you don't pass, can I pull a gun on you in the restroom because you're a man? Because I know it. Okay,
Right.
well, now my pass is different than your pass. So now you take that risk going into the restroom every time. Does this person think I pass?
Right. There's too much gray area on that.
Yes.
Yeah, so much.
Opinion.
Yes. And now, like, as an uncle, if I see one of my kids or anybody's kids really going into the bathroom, like, I feel like, obviously it doesn't happen much in Florida. I don't see this happening.
I love Florida.
Say I'm somewhere else, right?
Oregon. Say you're in Oregon.
Yeah, yeah, right. Let's use Oregon. If I do see like a trans person or a trans man walking towards the bathrooms, I look to see where they're gonna go, because I don't want them going into the bathroom with a female.
No.
They are masking themselves as this, and it's a lot of pedos have masked themselves into the trans community, and the trans people need to get their shit together, and they need to realize this is what's going on. You either need to stop it, or it's not going to get any better, because none of this was an issue before, but they have pushed so much of this ideology down America's throats to the point where you've now successfully confused every generation on not even knowing what to call you anymore, because apparently now we're thems.
Yeah.
You've successfully like made people who might not have hated the gay community before now hate them again. Created all of these issues you created the monster. The beast is up.
Yeah.
What did you expect would happen?
Right.
That's why I'm not even mad about it, because I'm like, people are like, aren't you scared to go into a store? I'm like, no, because I look like a normal dude when I go into a store and I act like a normal human. I'm not like,
You're not
like
pride flag waving. Woo!
Right. That is not my flag. Like, I'm just a normal American. That's the flag that represents me, that I look up to, I pray to, that I stand for. So I won't have any problems.
Yeah.
And I never have.
Yeah. Good for you. Dude, Aunt, you're such a champion.
Thank you.
I'm coming to Florida like 3 times this year to speak. So I'm going to hit you up.
Yes. So where are you going to be?
I'd have to look at my calendar, but I'm pretty sure one of them is in Fort Lauderdale. So. Is that where you're at?
I'm directly across from Fort Lauderdale, but it's only an hour and change. So
we're going to go in the women's restroom together. We're going to put red lipstick on you and see how people react.
Listen,
He identifies as female.
I have a story for your viewers, okay?
Okay, tell me.
One Halloween, this was back in 2010, okay? I had a lot of drag friends at the time. And they're like, oh my God, for Halloween, like, we gotta do you up as like a drag queen. And I was like, oh man, like, they're like, no, it'll be fun, Halloween. I'm like, this is Halloween.
Yeah.
And so they did me, I shaved off the beard and
oh my gosh.
I'll have to send you the picture if I find it. I look like a Puerto Rican chick, hot though.
I'm sure.
I walked into the gay bar. There was a Halloween drag performance that night, and all of the like house drag queens were like, "Who's this bitch?" And I was like, "I'm performing tonight." And they're like, "Well, we don't know who you are." And I was like, "It's Aunt, dude. Relax." And they're like, "Oh my God!"
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
I will never do that again, because I don't know how females do it. I felt like I had so much, like, make the makeup, like, y'all are used to it, but
you just want to scratch it off and pull the stuff off. And
I was like, and then I was at the bar. It was, I looked a mess by the end of the night, and I'm trying to take off these high heels, and one of the girls looks at me and she's like, "Oh no, honey, you'll never be able to get your shoes back on." I said, "Why? My feet are killing me." She goes, "Women's feet swell up after they take their heels off." I'm like, y'all got too many rules. I'm sticking to Nikes and
Real woman problem. I've worn high heels out before that have hurt, we'll say after 4 hours, right? But they hurt so bad that when you take the high heels off, it's a new pain because your foot has like reshaped itself. So then when you try to flatten it, that hurts even worse. So you're like, I have to wear the painful high heels. We have issues, man. I don't get why dudes want to be us.
I don't either. I pay respect to the females because I don't get it.
Thank you.
But you look hot in heels, so.
That's right. So that's why we keep doing it.
Yes. And I said I'd put my Nikes on. Not Nikes, guys. I'll put my.
I know. I was gonna say something, but I was like, he'll recant.
Dudes, no Nike. I have no Nike in this house anymore. I have all here. So.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
All right, I am so excited that you came on. Thank you.
These
are going to be some amazing sound bites. You are speaking to the people on behalf of the gay community.
Yeah, I hope.
I love it.
In the future, I hope that we can definitely work together and do some stuff if you ever need me. And
we will.
Always around. I look up to you big time, girl. You're killing
Thanks, Angie. Thank you. Well, I'm going to text you after this because I do have something for you. So.
Okay. Love you.
Okay. Love you. Thanks for tuning in to the Patriot Barbie podcast. Follow me on Truth Social at The Patriot Barbie and Instagram at the.patriot.barbie. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends. You can find this show, my book Targeted, and my apparel line on www.patriotbarbie.com. God bless America and God bless you.